Revealed, 7 divine steps for miraculous nervous system healing through supernatural manifestation. In a quaint English village, where ancient stone arches of the chapel reach toward heaven like beseeching hands, a mother's heart is tested. Mary, at 38, finds her faith unraveling when her son, Daniel, is struck by a mysterious and devastating nervous disorder. The whispers of despair hover in the morning mist, just as the chapel bells toll, ringing out a call for hope when all seems lost. But in this moment of desperation, she clings fiercely to a promise. Miracles exist. One fateful day, after a long silence, doctors deliver a grim verdict. Their words drop like stones in her heart. Yet, even as emptiness encircles Mary, another sound fills the air, a hallowed echo. The chapel bells chime, resonating with a divine rhythm. It's as if the universe itself responds, stirring her spirit awake. In her anguish, she gathers the community, a tapestry of souls all knit together by devotion, as they turn to St. Jude, the patron saint of hopeless cases. They pray with fervor, weaving their pleas with heartfelt stories of past miracles, their voices soaring high like a chorus of angels above the fog. But Mary's path twists and turns, each prayer meeting edging ever closer to the brink of doubt. She clutches her faith tightly, feelings of uncertainty creeping in as courage wavers. Yet, in those moments of vulnerability, light pierces through the gloom. When a beloved pastor arrives in the village, proclaiming 7 divine steps to healing, a flicker of hope ignites within her. His words resonate like a gong, 7 steps toward restoration, both physical and spiritual, manifesting the very essence of divine love. With renewed resolve, Mary embarks on her journey, reaching out to loved ones. They gather around her, each act of devotion, the sharing of meals, the circling of prayer stirs the atmosphere like an invisible force. Yet with every step, the weight of uncertainty increases. Mary feels like an unsteady tightrope walker, balancing on the edge of belief and disbelief as her heart wrestles with fear. Then comes a watershed moment, a pivotal prayer meeting where emotions brim to overflow. Mary's family and friends gather, the air thick with divine expectancy. Unity ignites as they raise their voices, fervent prayers echoing against the heavens. It feels electric, alive with the spirit of hope until a stillness descends like a shroud, haunting and profound. In this pivotal silence, the room thickens with expectancy. All eyes turn towards Mary. And then, with breathtaking clarity, a moment arises where heaven meets earth. Daniel, once subdued in silence, awakens to utter a word. Mom. The utterance is a gentle breeze, a sacred release. Gasps ripple through the gathered congregation, each breath drawn deep into an unfolding miracle. The village collectively gasps, and joy erupts like flowers blooming after winter's harsh grasp. Mary's heart, once wallowing in fear, sings with praise. But though they rejoice, an undercurrent of unanswered questions remains. What more can come from these 7 divine steps? Can their newfound faith withstand the trials yet ahead? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As hope stirs within their hearts, the village gathers in quiet anticipation. Their time of trial may just be beginning. What awaits them along this mysterious path of faith? Will further miracles unfold, or will they be tested again? The air is alive with electric expectation, leaving each spirit poised for the next revelation yet to come. As daylight broke over the village with hues of gold and lavender, a tangible energy filled the air, buzzing with a mix of faith and uncertainty. Mary awoke that morning not just with joy, but with an urgency pressing at her heart. The promise of divine intervention was alive, yet whispers of doubt coiled around her soul like tendrils of mist. Gathering her thoughts, she sat by her window, the fragrant blooms of her garden spilling into her view. She remembered the pastor's words, his voice steady with conviction. You are not alone. Each step you take is guided by a higher purpose. The affirmation ignited a spark within her, a determination to discover what lay on the other side of their prayers. Mary set out to form a small group, calling on those whose hearts were entwined with her own. They would lay the groundwork for the next meeting, one that would explore the depths of their faith and the steps toward his healing grace. With every hand she clasped, every prayer they uttered, she drew strength. This wasn't just about her son anymore. It had become a journey shared, a mission born from the collective yearning for hope. As the evening began to cloak the village in its soft embrace, the chapel buzzed with an expectancy that was palpable. The fragrant incense curled through the air, mingling with the scent of candle wax, a symphony of sacred aromas. Mary stood at the front, feeling the weight of many hearts beating in unison around her. She opened the service by recounting Daniel's courageous awakening. He spoke just one word, but how powerful was that? It was an assurance that God hears our cries. A chorus of amens filled the space, echoing off the ancient stone walls, as if the very stones themselves vibrated with praise. They spent the evening in prayer, not just for Daniel, but for one another. Each person shared their struggles, their aspirations, their deep-seated fears. As they laid their burdens at the altar, it was clear this wasn't merely an effort for healing. It was an intertwining of lives, a tapestry of love and support woven through prayer. In that sacred gathering, revelations began to unfold. One member spoke of a dream that had visited her, a vision where Daniel danced freely, unburdened. It felt so real, she said, her voice quaking with emotion. We are being called to stand firm in faith, for it carries the power of his promise. The night deepened, and a sense of divine clarity began to shed light on their path. As they prayed, a powerful aura enveloped the gathering. Tears flowed, voices quaked, but amidst it all, there was a profound stillness, a moment where it felt as if the very heavens were listening. Then, as if summoned by their collective spirit, a gust of wind swept through the chapel, sending shivers down their spines. Candles flickered as the air thickened with an indescribable presence. In that moment of divine connection, Mary felt her heart open wide. It was a reassurance that their prayers were not merely echoes in the void. They were tangible, unfolding mysteries of God's love. But just as the night reached its peak, doubts began to creep in. Was this a true manifestation of faith, or were they chasing shadows in their fervor? What awaited them when they stepped outside these sacred grounds? Mary's pulse quickened as she wrestled with the dual nature of belief and fear. As the final prayers were offered, their voices melded into a single cry for his continued guidance. They left the chapel cloaked in darkness, yet illuminated by the flame of hope ignited within. And as she glanced back at the chapel, Mary felt the stirring of a deeper truth within. What lay ahead was not just about healing. It was about their willingness to walk in faith, guided by love, even when the path seemed unsteady. What new challenges awaited them at the dawn of tomorrow? Would they have the strength to embrace what God had yet to reveal? The questions hung delicately in the air, filled with promise and mystery. The first rays of dawn broke the silence of the village, stretching fingers of light across the earth. Mary rose early, comforted by the warmth of the sunlight as it filtered through her window. Yet, her heart was still a tempest of hope and fear. What would today bring? Would the strength of faith see them through the trials ahead? As she joined her neighbors in the square, the air was thick with anticipation. They greeted each other with nods of camaraderie, each feeling the weight of last night's prayers. Conversations sparked around her, whispers of belief mingling with hints of worry. It was evident that each person had been touched by the divine gathering, yet shadows of uncertainty lingered just beneath the surface. Mary felt a swell of gratitude wash over her. She took a deep breath, exhaling slowly as she felt the presence of God around her. Today is not just any day. It is a day of possibilities, she thought. This conviction lit a fire in her spirit. She began to walk among the people, sharing smiles and the joyous news of God's promise. Each interaction connected her deeper to the community, strengthening the fragile thread of their shared faith. Her steps led her to the park, where the remnants of spring blossoms hung in the air, fragrant as the hope within her heart. As she approached a small gathering of women, she could hear their laughter ringing through the trees. They were discussing plans for a fundraiser to raise awareness for health issues in the village, an idea that sparked in her heart. What if we raise funds not only for awareness, but for Daniel's healing? She said, her voice firm. The women turned to her, their faces lighting up. That is brilliant, Mary. A celebration of faith, life, and healing. One exclaimed, enthusiasm radiating through her. Their words washed over Mary like a refreshing shower. Ideas flowed, fueled by the spirit of their resolve. They could organize a charity event, invite the village to join a blend of joy and purpose to unite them all, a tangible demonstration of their faith. Yet, as the excitement unfolded, Mary's heart twisted with a twinge of fear. What if the event didn't bring the change they sought? She felt doubt creeping in, lurking just behind the joy. But she shook her head, dispelling the shadows. No, we are called to move forward with faith, she declared, and with that bold statement, her spirit surged. That evening, with the sun setting in brilliant hues, the chapel once again filled with those eager to come together. They met to discuss the upcoming event, laughter and fervor intertwining as plans began to take shape. Mary stood at the podium, her heart racing with every word she shared. Their effort was about more than Daniel. It was about everyone, a beacon of hope for the entire village. As the meeting came to a climax, Mary encouraged everyone to lift their hands in prayer once more. Let us ask for God's guidance and blessings upon this journey, she cried, raising her hands high. With a unified shout, the congregation embraced the moment, calling upon the Lord to infuse their plans with divine purpose. Suddenly, amidst the chorus of fervent prayers, a hush fell over the room. A gentle, yet powerful presence filled the chapel, and a warmth enveloped them all. Mary felt it, a swell of peace and assurance that they were being watched and guided. He is with us, she whispered, feeling the weight of truth in her bones. When the final prayer was said, they left the chapel, hearts buoyed, spirits renewed. But a new question loomed over Mary. Would their faith and unity be enough for what lay ahead? As the stars blinked into existence, she could feel the hidden currents of divine plans weaving through the night, just waiting for their next step to be revealed. What unforeseen challenges awaited them as they ventured into the unknown? Would they find the courage to believe in miracles along the way? The urgent whisper of destiny lingered in the air, drawing them deeper into the mysteries of faith. With the first light of day, the village awakened to a new dawn, but beneath its beauty, the anticipation felt almost electric. Mary stood by her window, the delicate morning light warming her skin, yet her heart raced with an urgency that matched the pulse of the world outside. The fundraiser stirred within her thoughts, a kaleidoscope of hope and danger. Would it truly become a vessel of change? As she moved through the village square, people greeted her with buoyant smiles, each carrying the buoyancy of prayer and shared purpose. Mary could see it in their eyes, the flickers of possibility igniting their spirits. This was not merely about raising money. It was an act of collective faith, a chance to lean into the miraculous. Have faith, Mary, she whispered to herself as she spotted Daniel sitting under a large oak tree, his face pale but hopeful. He was determined to come, to stand and support even when he felt weak. Just seeing him filled her with a resolute bravery. Today, we cast a net of good into the deep waters of despair, she mused, imagining the connections they could foster. She approached Daniel, a gentle smile gracing her lips. "I believe we are on the cusp of something incredible," she said, sincerity lacing her voice. Daniel's eyes sparkled. "This is not just about us, is it? It's for everyone who needs hope." "Yes," she exclaimed, her heart swelling. "Every act of kindness will echo back to each one of us. The healing starts here in our hearts and spreads outward." They shared a moment of hopeful silence, feeling the warmth of God's presence enveloping them, a reminder of his unrelenting love. As the days passed, excitement filled the air. Banners were painted, plans were mapped, and laughter rang like music. But with every joy came a shadow of doubt. What if we fall short? Murmurings sometimes echoed in her mind. One evening, as her own fears began to roil within her, Mary sat quietly in her room. A soft breeze floated in through the window, rustling the pages of her well-worn Bible. She closed her eyes, seeking solace in Scripture, and opened her heart to guidance. In that stillness, clarity embraced her spirit. "For I know the plans I have for you," a gentle whisper echoed, transforming her inward turmoil into peace. The words wrapped around her like a warm blanket, filling her with renewed resolve. "I must remember," she said softly, "that faith often walks hand in hand with uncertainty." She rose, the glow of purpose clear in her heart. As the day of the fundraiser dawned, the village gathered, determination shining in their eyes. Mary stood before them, ready to speak, yet as she opened her mouth, a wave of unexpected emotion washed over her. This is more than a fundraiser. It's a celebration of life, of faith intertwining with love. And our hearts, united, will illuminate the path to healing. A deep sense of divine presence filled the air as they collectively shared their dreams and prayers. Breathless, Mary could feel the energy shift. They were not merely seeking funds. They were weaving a tapestry of hope, anchored in faith. But suddenly, just as they lifted their voices in prayer, the ground beneath them trembled slightly. Gasps filled the air as a cold breeze swept through, and a hush fell over the congregation. Mary looked around, a mix of awe and fear flooding her being. Was this a sign? What did it mean? In the silence, a voice within her stirred, urging her to lean even deeper in a trust, a call to prepare for something wondrous, yet uncharted. What awaited them on the other side of such divine intervention? Could this event truly be the catalyst for more than they had dared to imagine? As a twinkle returned to the stars that night, Mary couldn't shake the feeling that they had just begun to scratch the surface of something magnificent. The divine currents flowed around them, holding secrets yet to be revealed. As dawn broke once more, a new kind of energy pulsed through the village. The events of the previous evening hung in the air like a thick mist, each resident feeling the tremor of divine potential coursing through them. Mary awoke with a sense of urgency. Last night's prayer, the united hopes of the villagers, lingered in her spirit. Could it be that God was preparing to unveil something profound? As she dressed, Mary's heart danced with expectation. Could they truly be a part of something greater than themselves, something divine? She let the thought wash over her, filling her with warmth. Today, she knew, would not just be an ordinary day. It would serve as a canvas for God to paint vivid strokes of healing and grace. Stepping outside, she was greeted by Daniel waiting at her door. His face glowed with renewed strength, a brightness in his eyes that hadn't been there days before. "Ready?" he asked, his voice steady. "More than ever," she replied, and together they made their way toward the village square. The sounds of laughter mingled with the spirited shouts of children as families gathered to prepare. Tables were set, flowers arranged, and the aroma of baked goods wafted through the air. Yet, even amid the joy, Mary felt the weight of what would come. She glanced at Daniel. What if the ground trembles again? He paused, looking thoughtful. Maybe it's a reminder that we're not in control. It's him who guides us. His matter-of-fact tone offered her a sliver of comfort. She smiled slightly, feeling the truth in his words. As the crowd slowly gathered, Mary stood up and glanced at the assembled group. Faces marked with stories, struggles, and unyielding faith met her gaze. She felt the call of the Spirit urging her to speak, to share the vision that burned brightly within her. With a deep breath, Mary stepped forward. "Dear friends, we stand here today not just to raise funds, but to unleash a wave of love and compassion. We are here to break chains that bind us, to bring healing to the weary and hope to the hopeless." Her voice rang with sincerity, and as she spoke, she felt a holy electricity crackle in the atmosphere. The villagers responded with cheers and encouragement, a united front that shook off doubt and welcomed faith. Yet just as the words flowed from her lips, a sudden gust of wind swept through the square, tousling hair and stirring banners as if God himself was joining their gathering. "Look," someone cried out, pointing to the sky where the clouds parted. Sunbeams streamed through, bathing the assembly in golden light. There was awe and reverence, a tangible sense of the sacred weaving through their hearts. "Can you feel that?" Mary asked, her heart beating fast. That's the Spirit moving. She reached for Daniel's hand, grounding herself in his strength, but the collective whisper of recognition washed over the crowd. With fervent voices rising, they began to pray aloud. Words of healing, of restoration, spilled forth like a rushing river. The energy pulsed with an urgency, and Mary felt her spirit soar. The ground beneath her felt alive, as if it was anointed, ready to receive their petitions. But amidst the fervor, a weighty thought nudged her mind. What if God had more in store? A soft whisper in her heart dared her to ask for the impossible. Did she have the courage to believe that something even greater could emerge from their gathering today? As prayer filled the air, veils of doubt lifted, and hope surged like a tidal wave. In those moments, under shimmering skies, Mary glimpsed the truth. Their faith was a key unlocking doors to boundless possibilities. What miraculous surprises awaited them? What would happen if they dared to believe beyond their imaginations? The day was still young, and the heart of God seemed poised to reveal the divine blueprint still hidden. As the sun climbed higher, bathing the village in warmth, Mary stood amidst the thrumming excitement, eyes closed in a moment of silent prayer. She felt the energy of the crowd wash over her, lifting her spirit even higher. They were a tapestry of faith, woven together by hope and an earnest desire to see God move in their midst. The crowd, buoyed by the shared pulse of expectation, began to form small circles, some kneeling, others standing with arms raised. A spirit of unity floated in the air like a sweet aroma. There was an urgency that crackled like electricity, a feeling that their voices, their collective yearning for healing, could reach heaven itself. Daniel squeezed Mary's hand, and she opened her eyes to see him gazing intently at her. "What's on your mind?" he asked softly, threading his fingers through hers. "What if the Spirit moves in a way we've never imagined?" She replied, her voice barely above a whisper, yet filled with simmering excitement. "Then we just need to be ready to follow," he responded. His confidence was contagious as they both turned their faces to the gathering. In the middle of the square, an elderly woman, Martha, with hair as white as the clouds above, began to speak. Her voice trembled but was filled with authority. "I have felt the weight of illness for too long," she proclaimed, drawing the crowd's focus. "But today, I am here to declare that our God is a God of healing. I believe we can be healed." In that moment, something shifted. The crowd erupted in a chorus of amen, as if angels had echoed her sentiment. Mary could sense the atmosphere thickening with hope, desperation morphing into confidence. Suddenly, a child stepped forward, her little face radiant with innocence. "Can I pray for Grandma?" she declared, pointing to Martha. Gasps of delight filled the air as the child knelt before Martha, holding her hands tightly. "Let us pray together." The child's simple act was powerful. It was childlike faith on display, a reminder that no request is too small for God's attention. The crowd mixed gasps with laughter, a joyful sound that floated high into the heavens. As the child began to pray, her voice soft yet certain, Mary felt a stirring within her. The atmosphere thickened, pulsing with divine energy as more villagers joined in, their voices swirling together in a crescendo of faith. Each prayer soared, a petition of hope validated by belief. "Lord, we ask for miracles today," someone shouted in heartfelt urgency. "Heal our hearts, our bodies, our community. We trust in you." The tension in the air shifted into a buoyant warmth, a sensation of being held by something bigger. Mary closed her eyes once more, surrendering to the moment. Tears crested at the edges of her lids. The fervency of their prayers vibrated around her like waves lapping at the shore. Yet deep inside, a whisper grew louder. What if the response is bigger than healing? It pressed against her chest, filling her heart with something both thrilling and unnerving. "Can we handle such a revelation?" she murmured to Daniel, who was watching as people began to sway, engulfed in worship. "Friend, God is about to unfurl his wings," he replied, his voice steady even as the growing commotion reached their ears. In that moment, the ground beneath them trembled softly, as though in response to their hunger for the divine. Would they be ready to receive whatever God had in store? Would they welcome the unthinkable? As breaths caught in anticipation, Mary felt her spirit align with the collective heart of the village, a blossoming unity that could ignite miracles. What divine secrets were nestled within the farthest corners of their prayers? As the crowd continued to pray, a new sensation began to ripple through her, a curiosity that hinted that God was ready to unveil the mystery of healing and grace in a way they had never sought before. It stirred her deeper, revealing a path to possibilities just waiting to be discovered. In the midst of their fervent prayer, something remarkable began to happen. The sky overhead, once a clear blue, now shimmered with a soft golden hue, as if it were responding to the cries of the villagers. Mary felt a wave of warmth wash over her, pulling her deeper into the moment. It was more than a feeling. It was an embrace of the divine, enveloping her in sacred assurance. "Look at the sky," exclaimed Daniel, pointing upward. His eyes sparkled with wonder as the crowd fell silent, collectively turning their gaze to the miraculous sight. The golden light seemed to pulse and flow, illuminating the faces of those gathered, instilling within them a sense of possibility that was both comforting and exhilarating. As the child's prayer floated on the breeze, Martha, filled with a new strength, rose to her feet. "Let us lay hands on one another," she called, her voice resonating with power. "Let our faith link us, and together, let healing come from God through us." One by one, the villagers stepped forward, joining hands with one another, creating a vast circle of unity. Mary felt the warmth of the touch of strangers, their palm pressed against hers, a tangible sign of faith reaching outward, creating a space for God's presence to move freely among them. Each heartbeat seemed synced, a symphony of longing and belief. "Feel the presence amongst us." A voice rang out. "This is the moment we declare testimonies of healing, restoration, and renewed hope." Mary's heart raced as whispers of miraculous stories began to echo in the crowd. From the back, an elder shared about how, against all odds, she had received her health back after years of struggling. Another spoke of a broken relationship healed through faith and prayer. Each testimony ignited the atmosphere with electric fervor, urging others to share their desires and needs. "Does anyone else feel the stirring?" Mary asked Daniel, sensing the air become charged with expectancy. "It's like an awakening is taking place." "It is," he replied, nodding fervently. "This is our moment, Mary. God is stirring us up. He is inviting us to partake freely of his embrace." Suddenly, a hush enveloped the crowd, and all eyes turned toward the center where Martha stood. She raised her hands, a gesture both reverent and bold. "If you are seeking healing," she proclaimed, "come forward so we can lift you in prayer." A hesitance washed over many, but the echo of faith resounded in their hearts. One by one, With timid yet determined steps, villagers approached. Mary found herself drawn toward their growing line. As she joined the others, her heart swelled. She thought of the pain she had witnessed, the cries of despair, and yet here, in this moment, it felt like a sacred doorway had swung open. God was moving beyond their expectations, beyond physical healing. There was a deeper work unfolding before them. Open your hearts wide to receive, Martha urged as she laid hands on those before her. Tears streamed as prayers were spoken. Mary could feel the weight of burdens lifting, the air vibrating with a divine promise. In the silence of each prayer, she sensed a tapestry of grace weaving together a new chapter, a history of miracles yet to be written. What was waiting on the other side of their faith-filled leap? An unmistakable sensation hummed in the air. It bore the mark of something extraordinary. As the crowd slowly ignited into waves of worship, Mary felt a peace descend upon them, all a peace that transcended understanding. Just then, a gentle breeze swept through the village, carrying with it a whisper of hope that echoed in her heart, beckoning her forward. Was this only the beginning? What awaited them beyond the miracles they sought? Mary stood poised on the edge of a promise, heart racing as she prepared to dive into the unknown unfolding before them. As the golden light danced above them, the air thick with anticipation, Mary felt a stirring within her spirit. It was as if the very essence of the divine was weaving through the gathering, a gentle reminder that they were all connected, all part of something greater. She looked around at the faces illuminated by faith, hope, desperation, and yearning intertwining in their expressions. Breathe deeply. Martha's voice broke through the hush. Let each breath be a blessing, a release of our burdens into God's hands. One by one, participants began to exhale, the sound of soft whisper combined with a collective sigh of relief. It felt like shedding layers of doubt. Mary closed her eyes, letting the warmth envelop her like a shroud of light, enfolding her fears, releasing her anxieties. She imagined all her worries lifting, floating upward like a prayer, transforming into praise. Remember, we are here to receive, Daniel whispered beside her, nudging her back to the moment. His gaze was steady, filled with a fierce trust in the unseen. Open your heart to what is about to unfold. Martha raised her voice, her words ringing with authority. God has heard every cry, every plea. As we bless one another, we become vessels of grace. She gestured to the townsfolk. Let's shout our praises, cry out our longings. The heavens await our declaration. Fired up, the crowd began to murmur. Thank you, Lord. We trust you, God. The chorus built into a symphony of voices, resonating through the stillness of the afternoon like a rushing wave of unity and purpose. Mary felt the pulse of the crowd around her, alive with expectancy. She sensed the power coursing through her own veins, aware that God was not just in the air, but within each heart present. The words evolved into songs of worship, each note piercing the veil between heaven and earth. The golden light above shone brighter, casting warmth over their upturned faces, igniting an indescribable hope within her. Suddenly, amidst the rising fervor, a young mother at the edge of the crowd fell to her knees, fists clenched by her sides. Help me, God, she cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. Heal my son. The authenticity of her plea echoed in the hearts of many, stirring deep compassion and a sense of urgency among the villagers. Mary's breath quickened as she found herself moving forward, drawn by an invisible thread. Others followed, forming a circle around the distraught mother. Martha stepped into the center, her hands raised high, radiating authority and faith. Let's lay hands on this brave woman and her child, Martha urged. And in this act, let our voices raise to the heavens, calling forth healing. Together, they gathered, palms pressed gently against the mother's back, enveloping her in a circle of strength and love. Mary could feel the thrum of energy flowing through the connection, a surging wave of compassion mingled with deep faith. Lord, you are our healer, they cried in unison. We call forth your power, let it manifest among us." As they prayed, Mary opened her eyes, gazing into the sky where the golden light now seemed to swirl, taking on forms that sparked her imagination. Could it be angels? Could they be witnesses to this sacred moment? And at that thought, an exhilarating shiver traveled down her spine, awakening a deep realization. Could it be? She murmured, a whisper of revelation, that faith itself could summon the miraculous? What if every heart here is a gateway to the glory that awaits? Her mind was racing, full of questions and wonder. A new wave of spiritual urgency surged through the circle. God was inviting them to explore deeper realms of faith. As the prayer continued, and the atmosphere thickened with expectancy, a feeling washed over Mary, a knowing that they were in a liminal space, where miracles could happen, but only through the unity of their spirits. In that charged moment, a single thought gripped her wandering heart. What if God was about to reveal a new aspect of his divine nature? What lay ahead on this journey of revelation? The mysterious possibilities hung tantalizingly in the air, and Mary understood this was merely the beginning of their sacred adventure. As they continued to pray, a profound stillness enveloped the crowd, a hush that felt almost reverent. The vibrant energy crackled through the air like a gentle wind, thick with the promise of something extraordinary. Mary's heart raced, each beat echoing the collective hope, a heartbeat of faith rising in unison, reverberating off the surrounding hills, calling out to the heavens. In that sacred silence, the young mother's hands trembled as she clutched her heart, still kneeling on the earth beneath them. Mary was drawn closer, her heart aching with compassion. There was an undeniable connection, a spiritual tether pulling them together. She could feel the vibrancy of the gathering, each spirit charged with the expectation of divine intervention. "Lord," Martha called again, her voice unwavering, "we plead for your healing power to flow through this community like a mighty river. Let each soul here be revived, renewed. We invoke your grace. It is our anchor in the storm." The crowd's response was almost instantaneous, voices blending harmoniously once more. "Let flow, Lord. Bring healing," they cried, their words intertwining an intricate tapestry stitched together by longing and faith. Mary felt a wave of warmth wash over her. Was this what they spoke of when they talked about divine presence? A surge of love and assurance settled in her chest. The golden light overhead seemed to pulse in response, a shimmering aura that echoed the heartbeat of their prayers. Was it just her imagination, or were tendrils of light beginning to weave down, brushing against those who gathered in faith? Then the moment shifted. The air vibrated with a new energy, palpable and raw. Mary watched as a few townsfolk began to sway gently, caught up in the rhythm of their worship. Their expressions transformed, faces lifted toward the heavens, eyes shimmering with tears of joy and sorrow intertwined. "Can you feel it?" Daniel's voice was barely above a whisper, but resonated with an urgency that ignited Mary's spirit anew. "The promise of healing is here, it's within us. Just believe." Suddenly, a soft gasp emerged from the young mother, her body rising slightly as if propelled by an unseen force. Mary's breath hitched. Gaining courage, she knelt closer, aligning her presence with the mother's vulnerability. "What are you feeling?" she asked, her words gentle, yet brimming with anticipation. "It's warm," the mother replied, her voice shaky but filled with awe. "My heart, I feel it alive. It's like a surge inside," and as the words tumbled forth, her eyes widened, revealing an unfurling hope. Around them, murmurs of affirmation spread through the circle. "Yes, Lord, let be so. You are our miracle worker." The voices merged into a tapestry of faith, surrounding the mother a shield of love and belief. Mary felt butterflies fluttering in her stomach. Faith was igniting in the hearts around them, sparking something truly miraculous. What if this moment was only the beginning? The idea that they were not just spectators, but participants in a divine unfolding sent a shiver of excitement through her soul. Could this be what it means to witness the extraordinary? She thought, allowing the wonder to wash over her like gentle rain. What else could God reveal in this moment? With the sun now descending, washing them in hues of amber and rose, Mary pondered what new expressions of faith awaited just beyond the horizon. As their communal prayer deepened, she sensed the divine presence thickening around them, evoking a stirring anticipation that promised imminent revelation. What would happen next? Would they witness something that would change everything they thought they knew about faith and healing? The stirring in her heart propelled her toward the unknown, inviting her to explore the divine mysteries that awaited ahead. As the sun began its descent, casting a golden light over the village, Mary felt a divine pulsation in the air. It was a rhythm, an echo of hope, vibrating through the gathering as they lifted their voices in unison. Their prayers flowed together, an outpouring of collective faith that ignited something sacred. The atmosphere hummed with expectancy. Mary stood among them, surrounded by smiling faces, tears of exhilaration mingling with deep solemnity. They were on the brink of something monumental, a climactic crescendo in their shared journey of healing and belief. Each heartbeat resonated with the promise of miracles, of transformation deeply woven into the fabric of their prayers. Suddenly, a hush fell over the crowd, as if time itself paused to listen. The golden light overhead intensified, bathing the villagers in warmth. Mary closed her eyes and let the moment wash over her, feeling each prayer swell around her like waves lapping at the shore. And there it was, the unmistakable stir of the Holy Spirit moving amongst them, that a voice called out, breaking the sacred silence, igniting a spark of belief. "Martha, pray for my child." The plea came from the fervent heart of a father, desperation woven into every word. The crowd turned, watching in reverent anticipation as Martha stepped forward, hand raised, ready to welcome the challenge. "Brothers and sisters," she proclaimed, her voice steady yet filled with passion, "let us gather together. Let us form a chain of faith. In unity, we will seek God's healing." The villagers responded like a chorus, stepping forward one after another, clasping hands to form an unbroken circle around the distraught father and his child. Mary's heart soared. This was what it meant to be a part of something greater: community, faith, and love intertwined. Eyes shining with hope, they prayed fervently, their voices echoing through the twilight. Mary could feel the intensity building, an energy that surged through each clasped hand, each whispered request. "Lord, you are the healer," she cried, feeling the warmth of truth envelop her. "Let your power flow. Restore our loved ones, mend their spirits, breathe life into every fiber of their being." A tremor rippled through the crowd, a visible response to their intense prayers. Gasps filled the air as the child, once silent, stirred. The father's breath caught in his throat, their eyes locked in a moment of divine acknowledgement. "Can you feel that?" Mary murmured to Daniel, who nodded, his face lit with excitement. "Yes, something is happening," he replied, his voice a beacon amidst the rising tide of prayer. The child's demeanor shifted, joy igniting sparkles in his eyes as he stood, free and unburdened. "Daddy," he exclaimed, his voice clear and strong. "I'm better." The father dropped to his knees, tears streaming down his face as he wrapped his arms around his son, joy exploding like fireworks in the night sky. The crowd erupted, the sound like a symphony of praise, hearts swelling with gratitude. Laughter mingled with tears as villagers embraced, all barriers crumbling in the face of divine intervention. They were witnessing the miraculous, the answer to their fervent prayers unfolding before their very eyes. Mary felt her spirit lift higher, every doubt and fear dissolving into the warmth of the moment. This is only the beginning, she thought, vibrating with joy and holy anticipation. What incredible wonders lay ahead on this path they were walking together. But deep down, she knew this wasn't just about one child's healing. It was about the communal spirit, the link of unity as they reached for the divine. With newfound resolve, she called everyone closer, her voice ringing out with urgency. Friends, this is our testimony. God is moving, not just in Daniel and this child, but in each heart here. Let us not forget. The congregation erupted with Amen. Yes, Lord, filling the twilight air with echoes of assurance. As if chasing the last remnants of darkness, Mary opened her heart wide, sensing lifetimes of healing converging into this one beautiful moment through. Laughter, tears, and the timeless ties of faith and love. As the golden light began to fade, threads of purpose stitched themselves into her spirit. She could feel God's hand guiding their journey, weaving a story far beyond their comprehension. This was the manifestation they had prayed for, a reminder of his presence, power, and endless grace. With confident steps, she held Daniel's hand, feeling the renewed strength flow between them. Let us keep moving forward. Together, she whispered, realizing that the road ahead wouldn't always be clear, but the truth remained. God is with them, guiding every step. The spirit of the village swelled around them, vibrant and alive. Mary's heart beat as one with those surrounding her. Each loving soul was a testament to hope. Every prayer lifted into the heavens manifested the reality of his promises, unwavering, powerful, and full of love. As the last rays of sunlight slipped away, a new horizon dawned. They had discovered a sacred truth. Their faith, when woven with love, transformed lives. The journey had just begun, and it empowered them all to become vessels of healing, each step illuminating a path where miracles awaited. Now was the moment to act. Future stories of faith were unfolding, and they were the authors of this sacred narrative, creating a legacy grounded in belief and unconditional love. Share this beautiful moment with others waiting for hope and healing. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It makes a difference. Comment your reactions and testimonies about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. True servants of God know the importance of supporting one another on this journey. Don't wait even one more second to share.